Welcome to Kupuna Wisdom, Conversations with Enlightened Elders. I'm Amorah St. John, and I'm really excited that my guest today is Joe Sugarman, who I've been wanting to get to know, and I thought this might be a great way to do it. Just get you on my Kupuna Wisdom show and have you share some of your knowledge over the years. So welcome.
Well, thank you, Amorah. Pleasure to be here.
We have something in common. We both are from Chicago.
Oh, okay.
That was the first thing that jumped out at me on your bio. It was a good Midwestern. And then I read that you went on to Germany and became a CIA agent and then made the leap into direct marketing, where you became actually pretty well known in your field. How did that leap happen?
Well, first of all, I didn't go to Germany to belong to the CIA.
Oh, really? Okay.
What happened, I was in college. I had I had 3.5 years of electrical engineering. I was going to graduate in a semester. And I was also in ROTC, which meant that I was going to be a second lieutenant when I graduated. Instead, they put up the Berlin Wall, and I get a notice that I'm being drafted. And I try to appeal to the draft board that I would be an officer. They wouldn't hear any part of it, and off to boot camp I went. And when you're in boot camp, there are like 2,000 soldiers. They give you these tests. And I scored probably one of the top scores in the, I had all this college education.
Right.
So they pulled me out of the company, and they, in a room, just like you see on TV or in the movies, these two guys in civilian clothes and the commanding general of the camp. And they said, Mr. Sugarman, I just want you to know you had the highest score in the camp, and as a consequence, we think you would be very good or eligible for Army intelligence. Oxymoron. So
that's a good oxymoron.
Yeah. So I said, well, what's the catch? He said, well, you got to put in an extra year. I said, well, what do you do? What's the story? He said, well, you'll probably wear civilian clothes. We'll send you to a foreign country. We'll teach you a language, and then you'll operate in that country with us. And I did. I decided to go ahead with it. Sounded very much like James Bond.
Very romantic, yeah.
Yeah, so I went out there, and there were times where I was assigned to the CIA, and I worked with them. And there was a time where I actually became a double agent.
Really?
And worked with the CIA in that capacity. And then I met some people that wanted to sell ski lifts in the United States. And so I offered to help them and put a team together, and we started selling ski lifts throughout the United States. And one of the things that I did for the company was write the advertising. I did all the advertising.
Ah, that's how it happened.
Well, then, as a result of that, the ski resorts would call and say, "Well, we don't need a ski lift quite yet, but who does your advertising? We'd like to talk to that person." And I said, well, I do it. And they said, well, could you do advertising for us? And I said, well, yeah, okay. And I ended up with like 4 ski resorts as accounts and realized I enjoyed advertising more than I did selling ski lifts.
Right.
So I got a buddy of mine who took over the sales, and I started doing advertisements for the ski resorts and then also for many of the political candidates in Chicago. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, my success ratio was like 87%. I had 87% of my candidates won. However, 50% of those people went to jail. But
Including Mayor Daley, probably.
That's Chicago politics.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, that's
I remember it well.
Yeah, it wasn't my fault. So anyway, that's how I ended up in. Oh, and so one thing led to another. I was doing advertising and marketing for the candidates, for the ski resorts. And then somebody presented me, it's actually what happened was I saw an ad in Business Week, or not an ad, but an article. And the article was about this new thing that was coming out called the pocket calculator.
Right.
So I called up the manufacturer, and he happened to be, the sales manager happened to be stopping by Chicago, and I met with him, and I said, I would like to, I think I can help you sell this product, because it was sitting on shelves. It was selling for $240, and nobody was interested in it. I mean, it was dying on the shelves.
Right.
So they were very open to letting me sell it. And I offered it to one of my clients, and they said, "Oh, who would pay $240 to add, subtract, multiply, and divide?"
Right, right.
I couldn't get anybody to take the product, so I decided I would do it myself.
Wow.
And that started me off in becoming a marketer, direct marketer, because then I had my own business,
Right.
and I was selling pocket calculators, and we're the first in the country.
And doing very well, I might add.
We did very well. Yeah, there were times we didn't, but yeah, we did very well.
And of course, what you're mostly known for, I think, at least that's what the scuttlebutt when I first heard about Joe Sugarman, was the blue blocker sunglasses, and that you sold 20 million pairs of these sunglasses.
That's right.
Is that true?
Yeah, that's true.
Over a period of how long?
It's 27 years we're still in business, and we're still selling.
Oh, you're still in business?
We're still selling blue blockers.
Oh.
So that's been going on for 27 years, but at various stages. We started out in print, in magazines, and newspapers, and then we went to TV. The infomercial just came out, so we were one of the first to do infomercials. And then went from infomercials, we went to retail, and we were on QVC, we were in Walgreens. So we ended up selling 20 million pair.
In fact, what I read a while back that we didn't, was it John Belushi or some movies?
Zach Galifianakis.
That's right, wore them in the movie.
In the movie, what was the movie called? It'll lose me for a second. But he wore them in the movie, and the baby wore them.
Right.
And as a consequence, our sales just took off again. I mean, it was just... and the funny part about it, the producers of that movie, The Hangover is what it was called.
The Hangover. Yeah.
The producers of that movie stopped by our office. They bought several pair, paid for them, and next thing we know, it's in the movie. Well, typically you pay fees to get your products in movies. Here we actually made a profit. And that started another little revolution. That was about 3-4 years ago.
Oh, that was just 3 years. That's right.
Yes.
Well, that's product placement at its finest. Truly. Yeah.
Right, when it's free.
Yeah,
for sure.
And then you went on to write books, or have you probably been doing them all along? You've written 7 or 8 books.
I've written 6 books. I've got a seventh one coming out. It's called it should be out in about a month and a half.
Oh, great.
2 months. It's called The 7 Forces of Success.
Uh-huh.
And it's kind of a revision of a book I did 32 years ago called Success Forces. But this one, 32 years, you gain a lot more wisdom.
Yeah, for sure.
And a number of failures, but it all works out.
Well, what does success mean to you, Joe, personally? What has it done for you, and how would you describe it in your life?
Well, the success, that's a good question.
How do you measure it?
Yeah, that's a good question. I always measure it this way. If I could help others, that's my entire goal in life, is really to help others. And I do that by providing a really good product. I do that by supporting their efforts in some way. I do that by just being of service. I do that by writing books and inspiring people to go beyond what they typically would do. And that's a thrill, because every once in a while I'll meet somebody that will tell me that I changed their lives.
Uh-huh.
And so that's a thrill for me. So to me, success is helping others.
Beautiful. And it seems like you've done a lot of good things right here on Maui. Women helping women. I know that you are taking that cause personally and using your property really for events and so forth.
We have a beautiful piece of property in McKenna, and we make it available to many charitable nonprofit organizations to help them. And some of them have turned out to be very successful for the people that have produced it. So that's really, again, it's helping others, and that's what we're all about.
Yeah. I had this thought the other day in a meditation around getting my projects funded, actually. And what came through really clearly was that money comes from love. Like almost everything you see around you, look at what you've done with the love that you have for helping people. So you've created the abundance that is necessary, and then actually giving it to something that you love, like I'm giving it to my project. And it feels like and any business is started through passion.
Right. Yeah, passion, the desire to help others, the passion to help others, the passion to do what you really enjoy doing. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're still doing it. You're still enjoying every moment, I can tell.
Still doing it.
Now, can you tell our viewers how old you are?
Well, I'm 75.
And you just finished up, you were just telling me that you got an amazing report from your doctor about your own.
Oh, yeah, every time I get a blood test,
Blood
or
test.
every time I took a EKG and a stress test, and one of the comments the doctors made was that there are 20-year-olds that come to them that aren't as good a shape as I am. So that's a thrill. And the reason for it is because of my plan, what I do. I mean, I eat well. I take supplements. I think that's important. And
Are you still doing the push-ups in the morning?
I do 25 chin-ups, 100 push-ups. So I exercise a lot.
Wow.
And I just take good care of myself. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Do you have a personal practice? Do you have a meditation practice, or a walk on the beach practice, or something that fuels your spirit?
Not really.
No?
No, not really. I take walks. While I take these long walks, I always, work out issues in my mind. But I don't have a steady practice. I'd like to get into yoga. That would be something I think I would enjoy, and I think would be very healthy and very helpful.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Well, there's an abundance of yoga teachers right here on this island. I could recommend several to you
Okay.
if you like.
Okay.
And then you do have a product line. You said you take some excellent supplements and.
Yeah, I mean, there are some supplements that are really important.
Mm-hmm.
Vitamin D3, I should say, for example, fish oil, just a number of vitamins, multivitamins. Because we can't eat all the foods that we need in order to be healthy all the time. And the products that I take help boost my immune system. And I rarely, if ever, get sick. Knock on wood. And that's even in an environment where everybody else is getting sick. But I'm usually okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's another reason too, actually, kind of a secret that I don't often share, and that is when I was in my early 20s, I decided to give up one thing. I never smoked, never drank, never took drugs. So I figured, well, I'm missing something.
Yeah.
I'd like to give up something. So I said, you know what? I don't think Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, all these cola, sugary drinks are good for you. So I'm going to give that up. And I'm going to give that up for the rest of my life. And I have not had a drink of Coke or anything over 50 years. So, and I think that served me well, because a lot of people that are drinking these sugary drinks get diabetes and all sorts of illnesses. And I gave up alcohol. I gave up, well, I didn't really drink, but even wine, I just stayed away from alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
I gave up things like coffee.
Wow.
I gave up salad dressing. I gave up just a number of different things for the rest of my life. So.
And then you set the intention, and then you've just stuck with it.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Never fallen off. Never had a little latte.
Right. And what's interesting?
When nobody was looking.
No, never. And it's discipline. It really is.
Wow.
And I just had a sense about certain things. For example, salad dressing. What does it add to? You're better off just eating the natural salad.
Yeah.
There are a lot of other examples that really don't help you at all and aren't really necessary. Pizza, for example. I gave up pizza for the rest of my life.
But for the rest of your life, that's really
what is
intense.
pizza? Pizza is cheese and bread and sausage and all this kind of stuff. And I felt that isn't the healthiest of foods. I'm better off eating something a lot healthier.
Yeah.
So before I starve to death, no, but I do watch my diet very carefully.
Well, you're a walking, talking demonstration of what it looks like to take good care of yourself and have perfect well-being.
Well, if you're selling anti-aging products, you want to represent the part.
Exactly.
We had a partner who was extremely overweight, and we had to hide him.
Oh.
And finally decided this wasn't going to work
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
people would find out who it was, and it wouldn't be good. So yeah, your appearance, I set an example for a lot of people,
Exactly.
and that's important.
Absolutely. Well, let's finish up our show by talking a little bit about your what is it? You are on the board of directors of the Maximum Life Foundation, and the mission statement is to help reverse the aging process by 2033.
Yeah, well, a good friend of mine, and actually a partner in my company, is a gentleman by the name of David Kekich. And David is kind of the spearhead of that organization. And the idea is to raise funds to fund anti-aging research. There are millions of people who die every year from old age. And if they can come up with a solution
Right.
to reduce that, and we are. The thing is, I predict within 10 to 15 years, we will have found a way to live to 120 and live healthy lives. In other words, where we're vibrant and we have our mental capacity and all that kind of stuff.
Do you really want to live that long, Joe?
Yeah, I would, as long as I'm healthy and as long as I'm, I'd love to live that long to see
Yeah.
this world.
As long
is-
as the body didn't break down and you weren't battling disease and so on.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I think staying healthy is important. But anyway, and I hope to leave a legacy, either through my books, through some of the people I've inspired. There's one thing that I did that I'm the most proud of, and that is back in 1966. Before I get there, the thing that I'm most proud of is the fact that I introduced toll-free order taking. Prior to that, it was illegal to take an order over the telephone.
Huh.
You had to have a customer's signature on an order
Right.
form.
Right.
And every once in a while, I would get a call from somebody and say, "Look, Joe, I'm going out of town. I need the calculator. Just sign my name." So I said, "Oh, okay." So I signed the person's name. I'm a nice guy. Well, I started doing that, and nobody ever ripped me off. I did that for
Well, that's inspiring.
for months.
Wow.
And then I decided, in my coupon, I'm going to put at the top, credit card buyers call toll-free. So I did that and hired a bunch of operators and got a bunch of toll-free lines. And we ran an ad, and it was the most successful ad in our history. It was just, we were buried with orders. And I said, "My God, this thing is a license to kill." I said, So I kept doing that. I kept running all my ads with that little thing. And then I got a call from Bell Systems, who are the ones that issued the toll-free numbers. And they said, "Mr. Sugarman, we know what you've been doing." And I said, I'm in deep doo-doo, boy. And they said, no, what you've done, we've been following your success and the increase in your success and what you've done and how you're taking credit card order over the phone. And we want to let you know that we're changing the rules. We've gotten together with the credit card companies. We've changed the rules. We would like to now let everybody take toll-free orders. And we'd like to feature your company and your success in a full-page ad in the Wall Street Journal."
Wow.
And they did, and as a result of being able to take toll-free orders, the whole direct marketing industry benefited. Fulfillment houses, order central places. I mean, everybody grew, and that became a really big thing.
That's a huge contribution, Joe, when you think about it.
Well, at the time,
someone might have thought of it eventually, but the fact that you did, it was clearly your vocation this lifetime to do.
Well, at that time, yeah.
To make that happen.
Yeah, I mean, today we have the internet. We have all sorts of...
Yeah. Back then.
We didn't.
I hate to say, I remember it well.
Yeah, no.
So something else I wanted to ask you about before you have to take off is the statement I read about the Maximum Life Foundation and your mission there is that longevity will help create world peace. And I thought, that's a really interesting idea.
Yeah, if people know they could live to 120, why get into a conflict where they might lose their lives? They've got a lot more to lose if you see if they don't live as long.
Yeah.
So that's how old are you?
I'm 67.
67. Well, you look pretty good.
It's
And,
Maui, there's something about
I think there is a lot
the
to
energy
it.
here that keeps you vibrant.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Hope you don't mind me asking you.
No. So, Joe, tell us what's next for you. The book's coming out this month.
Well, the book, it'll be about a month and a half.
7 Forces of Success.
7 Forces of Success. And it's really a fun book.
Uh-huh.
I have all kinds of stories in there. Failures, successes. In fact, one of the products that I introduced was the Batman credit card.
Huh.
And this credit card is 48 years old. And it's a collectible from the era when Batman first appeared on TV, 1966. And it's also the year that credit cards came out too, and both were fads.
Right.
Everything that had Batman on sold like crazy, and everything that anybody that had a checking or a savings account received this credit card in the mail, and they were urged to go out and spend money. And so it was a couple fads that were taking place.
Wow.
And I thought, let's combine the two, come up with a Batman credit card, sell them for $1, and then get 1 million names, and then send them a catalog with all the other Batman products.
Oh,
And
right.
the people who licensed Batman loved the idea so much that they wanted to be partners with me. Told me to go home and print 250,000 of these. I was looking forward to being a multimillionaire. I mean, this was having Batman on my side.
That is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, except the owner of the rights to Batman, who owned a company called National Periodical Publications, did not like the idea and nixed it, and therefore I couldn't get a license. And I was told if I tried to sell these, I'd get sued.
Don't want to do that.
So anyway, I have 250,000 of these. And I'll
Wow.
be giving one away with each book that I sell.
Okay. I was going to say, how do I get one? I have to buy your book,
Well,
I guess. Huh?
you could read the last two.
Oh, I don't have my glasses on, Joe. You have to read it for me.
Oh, okay.
The Batman Credit Card Company. That is a really
Yeah.
novel idea.
It says here, bills payable upon receipt, delinquent accounts result in loss of credit privileges and a big spanking. Not valid for payment of income tax. And there's a place where you can sign your name. We used to emboss the cards with people's names.
Wow.
So-
Well, I would say you've already won a legacy. You could just put your feet up for the rest of your 30, 40 years.
Well,
I have a feeling you couldn't do that.
I couldn't do that.
No.
I couldn't do that.
No. Any final words of wisdom you want to leave our listeners with? Or what has made the biggest
Well, the thing,
difference
first of all,
for you?
my whole life, I always believed I was going to be a success. Always believed that. So whenever I failed, it was okay. It was okay. I'll just keep trying.
Yeah.
So I always believed I was going to be a success. And so my motto really was never give up. Never give up. There are times when it pays to give up, and you should give up, but for the most part, never give up. Always, if it doesn't work, you learn your lessons, go on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And I have a book filled with stories that some of which are hysterical, they're funny, but they learned life lessons for me. I'll share just one more, one of them
Please.
with you. Yeah, this one. When I was in high school, it was my junior year, and we had a chemistry class, and then one day a week we go into this laboratory and we mix chemicals to see the reaction. And so I was next to this one guy who always would spill chemicals on me and mess up my part of the thing, and I'd have to clean up. And finally I got really upset, and I said, you idiot. I said, look at you spilled it. You got it on my clothes. You know something? I should punch you out. You know that? He says, oh, you want to fight? And I look at him. He's 100 pounds. I'm about 150. I was working out. I said, yeah, okay. I said, what time? He says, okay, after school. How about 4 o'clock? I said, perfect. And I said, why not? Let's do it over at Greenfield Park.
And how old were you?
Probably 17.
17, okay.
So he said, okay. So I go home. I get dressed all white And the reason for it is if you're in black, you can't see the person's blood. I wanted the contrast to be, really strong. And I told all my friends to come out and watch this fight, be witness. So I walk out there, and I see him, he's out there, and I see my friends, and I wanted to acknowledge the fact that they were there.
Right.
So I
had a
I
support
says, hey,
team.
yeah, I says, hey, thanks everybody for coming. And then I turn around, and this jerk punches me in the face, and I am bleeding all over. I can't stop the blood from bleeding. Fight over. I race home. My mom almost died when she saw me. It was really embarrassing. She took me to the hospital. I got sewn up. Now, what's interesting about that story is 2 years later, this jerk, this idiot, married my sister.
No.
So when you think about it, it took 2 years, but I finally got even with him, see? And that's one of the stories in the book. That's when I was still in high school.
Yeah.
But I have stories
I love
afterwards.
that you've had a few failures along the way too, Joe.
Quite a few. People think that I was this huge success, but I'm probably the biggest failure you could possibly
Yeah, but
imagine.
isn't that great? You could say that.
Well,
I mean, you've lived life fully, I must say.
yeah. Yeah, but you can't dwell on that. You've got to always be open to new things and exciting things and that kind of stuff.
Well, I'm continuing to follow my passion, which is positive media that enlightens and informs and entertains us all. And I'm really glad you were part of that vision for me today.
Well, good. Thank you. I enjoyed it, and good luck. It's a good mission for you, and it's going to help a lot of people.
Thanks, Joe.
And you don't even realize how many people you help when you do that.
Yes, I feel that too. You just never know. You put it out there, and you hope the right people at the right time will hear it.
And they do, and sometimes you don't know about it until years later.
Yeah.
But I've had people come to me and tell me that I changed their lives, and that is a big thrill for me.
Almost better than a paycheck.
Yeah.
Is there a place where people can get your books?
It'll be in Amazon.com.
Amazon.
Yeah, but it's, like I said, it's about a month and a half, a couple of months away from finally being published.
Yeah, great. I can't wait to read it.
I can't wait to see it finished.
Well, as we say here on Maui, mahalo nui loa to you, Joe Sugarman.
Well, thank you.
And you've been listening to Kupuna Wisdom, Conversations with Enlightened Elders. I'm Amorah St. John, and join us again next time. Aloha.